Hello and welcome to So Farscape,
a fun-filled Farscape fancast by a fervent fan.
and a frankly fascinated first-timer.
I'm Khaki.
I'm Kay,
and this is the story So Farscape. At the end of Season 3.
Yes.
3 whole seasons worth of Farscape have poured into your brain in, honestly, not a very long period of time.
2 years now.
Has it been 2 years?
It has been. Yes, it has been almost exactly 2 years.
Oh.
So we did the first 2 seasons we did in 1 year, and then this third season we strung out a little bit more.
Oh, that's right. We've
so
been taking our time.
It's been 2 years.
So we haven't really discussed this format, which I thought was interesting. So I've been out and about banging the drum and getting some interesting questions and thoughts from some of our beloved listeners and doing some sort of global research. I've even got a little spreadsheet for us to enjoy.
Oh, bam.
How about you?
I just basically went through the last season and thought about which episodes I enjoyed most and why, and how they progressed. And,
right.
Had a
some
little
character
bit of
arcs as well.
Yeah, just a little
nice.
bit of just a little bit of recap for myself, basically, to be able to remember what all happened.
Should have maybe done that myself. I guess I sort of leaned on the hubris of I've seen it all. I've done all the preparation. What are the odds that I forget an episode like Revenging Angel, which for some reason I couldn't remember the title of so many times. Worked out just now.
Right, Revenging Angel, yes.
Yeah?
You know what I'm like with names. Which episode was that? What?
That was the cartoony one.
Oh, right, yes,
Yeah.
yes, that one.
Now, maybe we should start off with a bit of scorekeeping, actually.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because you've made a bunch of wagers, you made predictions on the regular, and we've sort of lost track of that a little bit.
Tapered out on those, yes.
Yeah. But I wanted to revisit some of the ones that you had for Season 3.
Okay, this is going to be hilarious.
Yeah. Well, starting back in Season 2, you predicted that maybe something was going to happen with Chiana and Jothi, and it sure did.
Yes.
You only bet 20 points, so that's 40 points won. You guessed in the first episode of Season 1 that the Interions,
Yes.
jewel species, would play a role in the next episode.
Yeah.
And you did. So
I suppose,
you doubled your 100 points on that. Zan, alas.
No. What was my prediction for Zan?
You correctly predicted that Zan's death will be drawn out.
Right.
Which I decided to sort of be generous about and actually include all the episodes where it was indeed drawn out as a multiplier.
Right.
750 points there. Not so great that Zan's cure was going to involve the Delvians.
No, well, yeah.
That she was going to buy it, get planted, and we get a new 11th level Zan.
Right, yes, I remember that one.
Oh, I'm sure there's fan fictions of that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I kind of thought that they were going to do a Wrath of Khan, or which is the one that Spock dies in, and then you have the...
The Search for Spock.
Search for Spock, yes. Well, I kind of figured they would do something like that, with her being resuscitated on some planet or the other. But,
alas.
Of course, that's she left for reasons rather than... non-script reasons, basically.
Yeah. Various accounts abound from various people. From David Kemper, he said that he would have loved to have her back, and the idea would be that she'd be planted and she'd go away for a few episodes, then she'd come back with
there you go, yeah.
whatever hair she had and would make that work.
Do a Deep Space. No, not
Babylon
Deep Space
5.
Nine. Babylon 5, yes.
Delenn,
that's the one.
Yeah, because she wanted to grow her hair back out, and ultimately, Virginia Hay made a statement that it was her decision and it was a hard one.
Yeah,
which I can understand.
I can totally imagine that.
You recognized chlorium as one of the 6 forbidden cargoes in 307. That gave you 10 bonus points for that. You predicted in 307. Which episode was that again? Come now. Thanks for sharing. That's the sort of Blade Runner planet.
Yes.
Where we see the Clarks for the first time. Talon had to starburst away to distract Zalax's...
yes. Let's see, the Goth Party.
Yep.
Cool beer taps. What happened on that episode?
Stick a lobster on my head.
Right. Oh, that one, yes.
Yeah, right.
Oh, that was also, that was the Forbidden Cargo one.
And you predicted that Talon and Moya would meet back up in the next episode, 308.
Yeah, well...
Yeah, well, that's not happening.
Not so much on that one, yeah. 308 was, the Budong one, the green-eyed monster. It's where there's actual star charts being mentioned and that they find... Which I guess they finally did get around to putting to some use, because I noticed that a few times in this season there was actually a mention of star charts and information being gathered like that. And as we see in the episode where John is talking to Erin at the end, and they're staring out the window, and he's like points out a star to her. I guess he figured out that used those star charts to figure out that must be Earth. Or is he just?
You misremember that scene. Let me correct you on that one. Yeah, I'm gonna put on my my fanboy anorak and just correct you very quickly. No, it's whenever you write somewhere news. Yeah, exactly.
You see that one? That's that star right there, the bright one. It's my point of reference, my guide, and it always becomes the center of my chart. I always name it Aaron.
But I guess you don't have a frame of reference.
I suppose not.
I mean, most of the brightest stars are going to be galaxies, and they're going to look the same, roughly from anywhere in your galaxy, right?
Right. Okay. For some reason, I remember that as him saying that was that he figured that must be where Earth was.
Oh, interesting. No, I don't think he's figured it out. Scorpius did from his memories. Oh, from
obviously,
yeah. Also, in 308, you made the prediction that Talon John, Black Tea John, was going to die.
Yes.
Very correctly.
That's probably based on the fact that it was going way too well with their relationships, and we can't have that.
That was, yes. in the middle of meltdown, that's
He's a gunner, yeah.
Later on in 312, you made the bet double or nothing that the crews would rejoin in 313.
Yeah.
Also, no. In 318, you said that Erin would throw time in John's face because she overheard him.
Yeah, that never happened. Yeah.
No, exactly.
No.
So, it doesn't seem like a huge success, but you have amassed a winnings of 3,800 points minus your initial inlay of 1,450 is 2,350 points.
Very good.
Which I now, over the course of this episode, challenge you to spend.
Okay.
Yeah, on making some predictions. You can do that whenever, and I'll fill them in on the database while we're going, but I think that you should arrive at 0 by the end of the episode.
Oh, wow. Spend it all.
Yeah, Brewster's Millions.
I'm making predictions about Season 4 then, I suppose?
That's right.
Okay. Whew, that's going to be tricky because
we have some prompts because some of our beloved listeners have sent in some questions.
Okay.
So we can go through those, and maybe those will trigger some ideas or some of your observations about the season. That would be a nice way to go through it.
Yeah, let's go.
Awesome. Let's start with our listener, Laura, who started watching Farscape on a whim earlier this year. Oh, wow. And now it's taken over my life, she says. Yeah. I can relate. I think we both can. Oh, and it's a cracker. What was your favourite Erin moment or episode this season?
Oh, let's have a quick think about that.
And she humbly apologises if we already talked about this. She's not quite caught up yet, but loving the podcast so far.
Yeah. I think, my favourite Erin moment, that's going to be... I mean, are we talking about Erin moment or Claudia Black moment?
Interesting. Let's have both.
Well, my favourite Claudia Black moment is obvious. Is basically all of 317. Choice.
The choice.
Yeah. That's definitely my favourite Claudia Black moment.
That's just a masterclass.
Yes, which is also one of my candidates for favourite episode of this season. So.
Oh, good choice. Well. Cool.
I have one or two other ones which we'll talk about that later.
You are
I suppose.
Well prepared, bud.
So, favourite Erin moment. I guess it's one of those scenes where she's just being a cocky bastard.
Okay, narrows it down. Let's see.
It would be a little bit cheeky to say her appearance in Revenging Angel, where she, when we have cartoon Erin making her appearance, which I really loved.
Yes, that was fantastic.
That was really good.
Don't do it to yourself, John.
Right.
Oh, no. Before you go, you fix this.
But I think it would have to be all the way back to Relativity, where she has the scenes with her mother in that one.
Yeah.
That was some really good acting, but also a lot of character development for Erin.
Where are you taking me? Back to the gunship, which I named Talon, by the way. Yes, I thought you'd find that amusing. Naming it after Daddy. It's not amusing, it's sentimental and weak. Is that why you're sparing me? Because I'm your mummy? No, because with that wound out here, you will die. Alive, your potential leverage. Regulation Field of Procedure insists you terminate all hostile personnel on point of contact. Eliminate the threat. And when I'm dead, you can name your prowler after me.
Oh, yes, that's very funny. Well, I no longer follow regulation field op procedures, and I know it's not by chance that you ended up out here on this assignment. High Command knew I was out here with Talon and Grace. They probably thought, send her mother, or perhaps you even volunteered for the pleasure, did you? Thought, things go wrong, we end up face to face. Perhaps the daughter will flinch. I'm not flinching.
I actually fully agree. Because she has a lot of really interesting sort of character development and relationship development with two Johns, with Grace, with Talon.
Yeah.
But I think my favorite is her mother. Because, this kind of military lineage story has appeared before in various media, but it's usually father and son.
Oh, yeah,
and there's
good
something
point.
profoundly different to the mother and daughter dynamic.
Yes.
Just the importance that they have to each other, and just how they had almost identical upbringings, presumably.
Yeah, I suppose so, yeah.
Right? We don't know that Xalax was conscripted, so it seems like she just...
Sounds like that she would have also been raised aboard a command carrier.
I don't imagine that life aboard a command carrier changes that much over time. I mean,
Unlikely. Yeah.
right, the Zelbinian was destroyed or went missing over 100 and something cycles ago.
Yeah.
She's been missing in battle for over 100 cycles.
And it's identical. It looks identical to Grace's.
That's just because they could reuse the sets that way.
Yeah, absolutely. But now it's canon.
I know, yeah.
Suggesting that these spaceships, they probably last centuries, maybe even millennia before being replaced. Who
That
knows?
makes sense, yeah.
You had the breakaway colonies in 1900 cycles ago, so stations have been space-spared, or the PKs already existed then. Anyway. I have a counter to that, which is my favorite moment is weirdly in 301. In the sort of afterlife where Zan does a unity thing to her.
Oh, that where they have the overlap with their heads,
Yeah.
and that was a fantastic scene too. Yes.
And she's in this sort of silver jumpsuit and strapped to a chair, and she asks Zan,
Have you come to reassign me?
Oh.
which I was only reflecting on during doing my homework for this episode.
Yeah.
I thought about that again, and I realized, does she know she's dead? Or is this like a part of her consciousness? Or do peacekeepers have a concept of reincarnation?
Oh, that could be possible too. Yeah.
Like, you die and then you get reassigned.
Oh, that's kind of that's horrible actually to think about.
I mean, not necessarily. Right? That
That military life is so ingrained to you that even in the afterlife you get, then you get like a new assignment. Like, yeah.
Well, that makes like death a minor setback in the course of your like multi-life spanning career.
I suppose, yeah. It's a bit Buddhist, I suppose.
Right. And she was just radiant there. And also when she did the tongue rolling thing in Won't Get Fooled Again.
Oh, I don't remember.
That was a Claudia Black thing. Like at the very end under the disco ball, and she just sort of opens her mouth and lets this sea slug do a little dance between her teeth. Thank you for that, Laura. Like, we actually spent a fair bit of time on that question, but it was an absolute cracker. Let's follow that up with a Beta Z lady who's Italian. She watched Farscape during the pandemic, and now it's my daily escape. Oh, she does GIFs almost daily.
Yeah.
Which relaxes her. That's wonderful. I'm actually a bit behind on the GIFs on Twitter.
Oh, you have to get a few more in, yes.
Yeah, got to get back on track with that. Let me see. Oh, she asks, how did you get over the trauma of The Choice? One of the most powerful episodes I've ever seen.
I'm a cyborg. I don't have emotions.
And I got to talk about it with my best friend for an hour, 23 years after it aired. So, we both had something.
Okay, let's give that a little bit more comprehensive answer. But how do we get over the trauma? I'm very good at compartmentalizing,
and there is something kind of transactional to the way that we're watching it, because we always go straight into recording afterward.
Right. So I think that's actually probably the correct answer. I got over it by making the podcast, and we get to process it, and we get to re-experience the entire episode. So I guess I'm still on the first watch. I have rewatched a few episodes.
Oh, have you?
Well, when we did the watch parties with Gigi Edgley.
Oh, yes, of course.
I have rewatched a few episodes, but not very many.
Thank you for that, Beta Z lady, and keep it up with the GIFs. We'll hopefully catch up soon. Okay, we've got 11 questions in total. So how about we delve into some of your observations? What have you got for us?
A few little comments on episodes. Like I mostly went through the list to just remember things, what happened, and was really surprised at how long ago certain things were.
Right.
And I'm just like, oh, great, was that 12 episodes ago? And like, did that happen in episode 10? That wasn't even halfway through the season yet. Right. And but mostly just like making a list of what I thought was my most and least favorite episodes. That's
that seems like something juicy to say for the end. Well, maybe we can talk about some of the characters. Like we've talked a little bit about Erin.
Yes.
I'm sure we'll delve into her a lot more over the course of this episode because this was her season.
Right. Although you can also, an observation that you recently made was that it's also kind of Crisis season. He doesn't get as much screen time, but he does get a lot of development and character progress and closure.
He gets a lot more screen time than he ever has.
Yes,
so
that too. Yeah.
All of the growth happens in this season, which is also the end for Chris, of course. No, it's interesting because Lani Tupu made some observations that I read in the Visual Companion, which I was able to procure thanks to the support of our generous donors on the Patreon. Thank you so much, everyone. He observed that Crace has a need to be in control. When he's in control, then he's calm and strategic. But he made the observation...
That's why he keeps his hair so neat when he's...
Yeah. And that's sort of one of the motivations why he wanted Talon. He wanted something to have control over, because that wasn't going to be Erin. It was definitely not going to be John.
No.
But an impressionable Leviathan, that's something that he could have control over. Not realizing that in doing so, he imparted that need for control onto Talon.
Yes.
Who inherited that from him, learned that from him, then later actually inherited it when his mental engrams were transplanted after
that too,
Xalex's lobotomy. So that frustrating desire for control, like he at least had a career where he was able to satisfy that need for several decades, presumably.
Well, I guess that stems from the traumatic experience he had when he was conscripted as a young child, and that lack of control probably translated into his desire to be in control and work his way up to a commander position like that. Yeah,
but Talon never got those opportunities. He got all the same traumas and none of the same opportunities to really sort of flex his growth except through destruction.
Yeah.
Oh, he also had a really nice observation about Pilot, because he obviously voices Pilot as well.
Right, yes.
And that, like, a really key moment for him for Pilot was The Way We Weren't.
Mm-hmm.
The flashback to Erin's past back in season 2, where we saw a different sort of Pilot, like much more assertive, much more snippy, having opinions that then didn't really come up for the rest of season 2. And in season 3, like, really manifested again. He has opinions. He voices them very clearly.
No, absolutely. He also makes a lot of development, and he even goes to the point where he kicks people off Moya for a bit, like, okay, I'm sick and tired of you. You go to that planet and don't want to see you for a few weeks.
I mean, there wasn't probably any threat behind it. Like, if it stayed behind, then I will be upset with you. Okay,
yes.
Well, fine.
That was Scratch and Sniff, I think.
Are you boys a couple?
Yes. Good point.
Which is one of my end candidates for favorite episode of the season, actually.
Okay. So I'm going to skip ahead to question 6, where we have a question from Lee, who says, my mum got me into Farscape as a teenager. Oh, good mum move. And I fell in love with it. Revisited in the pandemic around the same time the podcast started, and it was a match made in heaven. Oh, thank you, Lee. Lee is, of course, Lee writes songs, also known as Give Them L, the composer. Yeah, I love that.
Of our lovely theme tune.
And here's the question that she has for us.
Hi, Khaki. Hi, Kay. It's your musician friend Lee here. And I'm back with another hypothetical question. We all remember Raxel from Season 3 episode Scratch and Sniff, and the deleted scene where at the end she joins the crew. So my question is, how do you think that would have worked out? What episodes do you think Raxel would have been a real asset? And what episodes would things have gone horribly, horribly wrong?
Even not knowing this scene, that the last question can be answered with all of them.
Right. Rax is the little scamp character that aids them, tries to get them to do weird stuff. Is that play?
Yeah. I have the scene right here. So let's just take a look at this. This was the original ending for Scratch and Sniff.
Okay.
I'm terribly sorry your time on Lomo was so eventful. However, Are you aware of the reasons why Moya and I asked you to leave?
Yes, we've both been acting like, cow and chicken.
Everyone would appreciate it if you both would curb your more argumentative impulses. I realize that you wish to remain in the area hoping for, anticipating Talon's return, and that you feel they have gone and prefer to move on, charting our own course. Moya and I are in agreement.
A lot of
We
exposition
shall
there.
choose our way slowly, hoping for contact with Talon. However, eventually.
Thank you, pilot.
Thank you.
Can't believe you pissed him off.
Piss him off. You pissed him off.
I did not.
Here we go.
Where to next?
Shut up.
You guys, I mean, cheer up. We're a team now. We can do anything, you know, knock over depositories while with this chip alone. Wait.
Grabbing...
That's the boot. That scene was in there. The boot crushing the chip.
No. Raxel just runs off with it.
Give you something.
Oh, here we go. Bullying.
There's a Commerce planet only 2 hours away from here.
Oh, come on, guys.
Be ready to get off.
And the high five in the hallway.
And they're in agreement, yes. Oh. Okay, because I remember there must be a different scene then where Dargo crushes something under his boot, because I remember commenting about his high heels then.
Yeah, you are right, actually. But it's not this chip that she retrieves from the milking machine.
Right.
Like, she makes off with it, and we never see her again.
She was played by Ben Browder's wife, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
Francesca Buller.
Right, yes. Okay, so where would she have gone? So Scratch and Sniff was episode 13.
Oh, yeah. We've got to look at that. So, episode 13, and then after that came... Oh, Infinite Possibilities immediately. But no, she's on Moya. She couldn't, join in with the Talon story arc.
No.
So, Revenging Angel, oh, God.
That's all, folks.
Well, we don't. She could have. It's a hypothetical situation, so she could have ended up on either ship. Or was there already a.
No, that was on... Moya went to Lomo.
Yes. Oh, but had the split already happened there?
Yeah.
Oh,
that one happened at the end of Thanks for Sharing, 307.
Right, yes. Oh, God. Again, that's one of those things where, was that so early on in the season?
This season is so huge.
Yes. But, we're dealing with hypotheticals, so it might...
I mean, the only episodes that she could have joined in was, Revenging Angel. She wouldn't have had anything to do because most of the fun stuff happened in John's mind.
And yeah, so that...
So she could have absolutely ruined everything. Fractures. Oh, that could have been interesting. That's where the sort of mirror Moyans came aboard. You had the androgen Nabari.
Oh, yes. It's like the mirror crew, yeah.
She might have been an asset. She might have had some strategic insight and kept her head on a swivel and maybe blamed Oren a bit sooner.
Mm-hmm. Well, frankly, I mean, if we had just have to go, I think in Ai and Julian, she would have been fantastic. She would have been...
Would they have brought her along for the negotiation, though?
Probably not, but... we're thinking situations where she would have been useful or at least made a good contribution, I suppose.
You know what? I think I might have enjoyed the blue monkey robbers and Raxel interacting. That might have actually, two not great sources can sometimes mix to actually be very interesting.
Yes.
Ooh!
That's what I'm thinking.
There would have been a happy ending. She would have run off with them.
Oh, yeah.
She would have absolutely, for definitely 100% sure, run off with them.
Yeah, she would have gotten tired with things going on with Moya. I think it's they didn't put her on there because I think there would have been too much overlap with Chiana.
And Jewel. Jewel has
in functionality, in yeah.
The sort of, she's the irritant. As in, she's
right.
Adjutant, I should say. Mm. But what a joy it would be to have her around. I really, really enjoyed Raxel.
Right, yes. The British accent would have been a bit weird after a while, I suppose. But she really sounds like she's straight out of Mary Poppins.
Good question. Thank you for that one, Lee. Let me see. What's our next question? That's from Ruth from Colorado, who got into Farscape when it originally aired and found it filled a niche of my life's need that Babylon 5 had once filled. Oh, very sincere. Rewatched it with friends several times and then discovered your podcast from Khaki himself, and I'm so grateful. I never had discussions with co-viewers anywhere close to the level you two have shared with us. Gosh, he's really laying it on thick, isn't he? Thank you. Thank you for making such a fabulous podcast and tribute to one of the best sci-fi series of all time. Absolutely, you're welcome. So, with the Leviathan Graveyard thing... Oh, I found out it has a name.
Oh.
Yeah, it was mentioned in the Farscape Season 3 visual companion and essentially nowhere else. It's called The Kelsayon.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw it appearing on 2 websites, one of them French language with Farscape terminology, but nowhere else. Not on the Farscape encyclopedia that I can find.
Okay.
So
yes, from Dog with Two Bones.
Yes. And the notion of competing ship manufacturers trying to cull the herd. That was in... Was it Meltdown? Yes, it was Meltdown, wasn't it?
Yes, it was Meltdown.
Yeah,
so where they're in the star, when the guy is like luring Leviathans into the star, yes.
Yeah, the Siren Star, and he's been hired by rival ship manufacturers.
Yes.
Trying to cull the herd. I found myself wondering just how do Leviathans reproduce? If the series answered this, I cannot recall. Yes. Well, so we have a few, very, very few clues.
Mm-hmm.
Talon's birth was difficult, but that is the sort of gestation for Leviathans.
Yes.
Which apparently doesn't have a set timetable, but like a construction bay.
Which is not unusual,
Isn't it?
A lot of species can hold off pregnancy. Basically get fertilized and then stow the zygote until the situation warrants it growing it into a full-blown kid.
Right.
That's very common.
I guess it's like nutritionally restricted then?
Yeah, hormonal, nutritional, I don't know.
Seasonal?
Possible. I mean, I don't know. I just know that it happens.
Okay. So in Season 1, Episode 10, they have got a secret. Dargo kicked open some shield, which we know Velarek installed to prevent the pregnancy from occurring. Now, it's described as sort of a catalyst, and it has Moya DNA.
When Dargo broke the contraception wall half a cycle ago, the Peacekeeper catalyst he released must have contained the DNA signature to produce weapons.
Will that grow as big as its mother?
Possibly bigger.
It's difficult to say whether that was the sperm that, equivalent for Leviathans, I have no idea, or whether it's just some property that is necessary for pregnancy to be initiated after fertilization has happened. Because presumably they're sexually reproductive. Like we have had Rovu in Eat Me was a male Leviathan and Talon is a male Leviathan, so they have at least those 2 sexes. And other than that, like, do you have any...
Space mating? I mean, I suppose it makes sense. Maybe they go off starbursting together.
Oh, that's fun.
That seems like a kind of...
That they sort of travel through each other and leave their mark upon one another
I didn't even think of that, but yeah. I mean, physically it would be complicated. I mean, but they do have...
Docking ports.
Docking tubes, nutritional tubes, which are like connected between Moya and Talon at a certain point. So it might be something like that. I mean, they are part biological.
Yeah. And they have a birth canal.
Yeah.
And a lot of species use the
birth canal for
the same birth canal for insemination. I don't love the word, but it is the word.
It is, yeah. So yes, I guess something along those lines. There's probably some physical contact involved, and probably a lot of courting and gallivanting around the galaxy together.
Do you know what I'm noticing about this episode that we're recording so far, that we didn't start off with watching Farscape? It's actually being really sensible and like down to earth and like answering the questions very clearly. That's not us.
Oh, I mean, makes for a nice change, maybe.
Do you know how whales mate?
Loudly?
It's spectacular.
Yeah, they go swimming up against each other and then breach and then fall apart again, isn't it?
Yeah. Like extraordinary timing to like... Oh, do you know what a whale's penis is called? A male whale's penis?
No.
A dork.
A dork.
Yeah, that's where the word comes from.
I mean, I know that sightings of sea monsters and stuff can probably, some of them at least, tentacled sea monsters be attributed to whales' penises. So apparently when there's mating going on, there's like a lot of the other guys are like hanging out as well, and they just kind of waggle their weenies outside above the water. And I mean...
What, really?
No, seriously, yeah.
They just do the little backstroke and like... Waggle their weenies is what you're...
I mean, how else can I describe it?
That's so cute. Waggling weenies brings us to the next question by Muppets Sex and Trauma podcast. Sarah from the Muppets Sex and Trauma. Fellow, absolutely not rival, but a fellow Farscape fancast. They're describing it as we're the not-so-PG Farscape podcast. Yeah, I don't think they bleep out their swears. And she thinks that one of their listeners pointed in your direction, and she likes our light-handed approach.
Oh, that's lovely.
I'm going to pull up their Twitter, Sex and Trauma. because maybe they have more of a description there. That's, twitter.com/MuppetSexandT1.
T1?
Yeah, well, I guess they didn't want it to be too long. A bi-weekly Farscape podcast. Sarah, she's the one who wrote in, a Farscape fan guides unspoiled newbie Jack and Josh through every episode of the show. They have podcast episodes on Buzzsprout, but they also do, they record them live on YouTube, so they've got videos as well.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. So lovely to meet you. Those of you who are interested in that sort of thing, absolutely check them out. I listened to a few episodes and I really enjoyed them. And Sarah from Muppet Sex and Trauma asks,
Hi, Khaki and Kay. This is Sarah calling from Muppet Sex and Trauma, a slightly different Farscape podcast. My question to you is there a one-off character or species from the past 3 seasons that you wish we knew more about or had explored deeper? Love the show.
Ooh.
I mean, Raxel's off the table like we've had.
Right, no. Well, one of speech, one of character. I think it would have been fun to have the Scarran boy hang out on Moya for a little bit longer.
Oh, interesting.
What's his name again? The one we unfortunately lose when Talon...
Naj Gill.
Naj Gill, yes. I think
he was really interesting.
Yes, I think he would have made an interesting addition to the crew.
Could have learned a lot more about Scarran culture.
Yes, give us a little bit more of that. And
perhaps a romantic partner for Jewel.
Well, yeah,
that could have been very interesting.
I mean, they did seem to be into each other, so at least Jewel into him. Oh, yeah, and Kokura Strapbath would have been a good character.
They should have brought him along.
They should have brought him along. That's I think he would have made a great addition to the crew.
Right.
So, yes, those two, to me jump out as characters that I wouldn't have mind seeing more of.
For me, it was Hubero. That's the androgen Nabari in Fractures as well. I really liked their look. And they could have given lots, a really interesting glimpse into Nabari culture as well. Although I keep saying, it would be great to learn more about their culture from these characters, but that's not what characters on Farscape generally do.
Yes, are intended for, yeah.
Right? They're their own thing. They're not the people from the planet with the nice hats.
No.
Even when they go to a planet of the week, or, you encounter a new member of a familiar species, they're always very individualistic.
Yes.
And often sort of play against type. We have a certain idea of what peacekeepers are like. And Krace is not that, turns out. Xalax is not that, it turns out.
No. Aaron's definitely not that.
Right? Yeah, Hubero would be it for me. Oh, wait, actually, the Boolite.
Oh.
I would have been interesting to see him put back together and, how he deals with that.
Yes, again, we never... It's implied that he's going to be put together and nothing comes of that.
Oh, interesting. I thought he was killed in the attack of little mouse PK Tech Boy.
I mean, he gets he can regrow himself from as long as there's any bit left over, isn't there?
No, the bits can be put back together as long as they're not individually damaged, and the metal dissolved because of that test weapon in his metal-rich body.
Right.
But I think now he's actually been blasted in the pile of organs, and that'll probably do it.
Okay, yeah, and of course there was. Furlough, but she definitely frelled the pooch with her betrayal, so we don't want her.
Yeah, that's kind of it, right? I've been so looking forward. Oh, we get to see Furlough again, and then she, well done, frells the pooch. I'm like, yeah, that's enough of that. Thank you for that. No, that's perfect. That's just right. Oh, the Diagnosin. I've got a little soft spot for the Diagnosin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Another Diagnosin is mentioned at one point, but...
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we do see one on the Planet of the Mystics, Valgon. Any other interesting... the Scarran in Won't Get Fooled Again was really interesting. He was the Scarran spy who was doing the mind probe interrogation.
Yes. He did another explosive decombustion, didn't he? He gets blown up by John.
Yes, that does happen.
Yeah.
It's probably going to have to be Kokura.
I had coding section run a cross-analysis on the data from the neurochip.
Kokura Strap.
He would have been nice to have
He
along.
would have been, yes.
With his big old teeth. Thank you for that, Sarah. Should we just keep going? I'm kind of into
might
it
as
now.
well, yeah.
Oh, right. Okay, well, since we just mentioned another podcast, here we go. Alex G says that they found Farscape on Netflix while they were searching for something to watch and fell in love with it instantly. Happily found the podcast on Reddit. And it's not a question, it's just a bit of a comment that they really, really enjoy listening to the two of us discuss Farscape, which is nice. And they say, I don't have queer friends who watch the show, so it's nice to know there are people like me who also enjoy this show. Well, Alex G, have I got news for you, because Muppet Sex and Trauma are significantly queerer even than we are. We just happen to be two gay gentlemen, which on the sort of vast multidimensional spectrum of queerness is kind of 90s.
It is a bit, yeah.
Right, we're all over that.
It's a bit normative.
Yeah, exactly. And a very interesting group of people are also watching Farscape, so absolutely go to twitter.com/Muppets, Sex and T1, all one word, and sink your teeth into that, Alex. And thank you so much for reaching out. It really is lovely to hear from you. Now, next up was Lee's question about Raxel. And, I've got one from Tash. Natasha, who says that Tash is fine. Oh, this is a good one. When the command carrier is slowly destroying sort of destroying itself, presumably, Scorpius is going around the ship, finds Braca and tells him to abandon ship. Has he deliberately gone looking for Braca?
Oh. Did he want to keep his little lieutenant?
Yeah.
Oh. Probably, yes.
That's awfully affectionate.
Yeah.
That he would sort of waste time. I mean, he didn't seem to be in a rush even to leave the ship himself.
Apparently he knows that there's going to be he's going to have a private escape pod that he can use, which is probably reserved for him.
He's not worried at all.
And he knows that the ship is going to. He knows the ship is a goner, but he also knows that it's going to take time.
Yeah,
and he can get out easily. So yes, I do think he deliberately went looking for, and he probably also wanted to make. I mean, he really tells Braca to abandon ship, and
yeah, but that's after finding him, because he was on the sort of research hangar when all the explosions happened. And then he walked up the stairs and got swept down with a huge amount of water that leaked from the lake overhead. And Braca wasn't around for any of that. Braca was, in fact, I think in Scorpius's quarters at that time, because they were over the radio, over the comms, while Crace was holding his speech.
Well, okay, so, I mean, it's his ship. He is actually in command of that carrier at this point.
Yes.
So I assume that he would, as the commander, would have to officially give the abandoned ship order.
And that Braca, as the executive officer...
I mean, presumably he can give that order to anybody who's working in that department, and it doesn't specifically have to go through Braca. But,
interesting.
Seems like it's a thing that needs to be done. Like, I mean, you better have a damn good reason to jump into an escape pod and get out of there before a general order to abandon ship has been given. So, if you're in a closed off in a section which is burning and it's breaking apart, then of course, then you jump in the nearest escape pod and
if your duty has been rendered impossible, there's no dereliction.
But otherwise, you hang on until you get the order to abandon ship. So I think that's like something that has to be specifically said. But yes, I'd still like to think that even if he didn't, he probably wanted to keep his lieutenant. It's so hard to train a new one.
And who else is he going to explain the plot to? David Franklin did sort of complain, early on, I was sort of Lieutenant Exposition. I was just sort of there for Scorpius to explain the plot to the audience. But then he got more stuff to do. And he had some interesting insights about Lil Braca that he does not care about wormholes at all.
No. Good little
He's not
peacekeeper.
A scientist. Yeah. But he does care about sort of power and influence. He's maybe like an early career Crace, trying to claw his way up to the top, and he's latched on to Scorpius's flank like a remora on a shark.
Which is a dangerous proposition, because we learned that, Scorpius isn't as universally beloved as you'd like to think. He's got a lot of assets, but he's now also under scrutiny by Commander Cleaverage. It was John who called her that, not Jewel, as we said a few weeks ago.
Good catch.
Yeah.
I don't think we do retractions on this series.
No.
God, I hope not. We'd have a lot of catching up to do.
Yeah, it was just, I was looking for the soundbite, and it turned out that it was John who said it, not Jewel.
Very good. Do you remember back in Season of Death, there was...
Yes, that's the season we're discussing. You mean the episode, right?
Episode,
the very first one, yes. Okay.
Lieutenant Cobrin.
Officer Cobrin, I ordered you to remain with the Marauder.
Yes, sir. However, we've received an encoded message pulse from the command carrier.
Report.
The cocky ginger pirate.
Yes, who gets blown out of the air as a ruse.
Plainly, Officer Cobra overestimated his piloting skills.
That was interesting because Braca was so jealous and he was just being waltzed over. Like, Cobrin would just walk into the room and interrupt Braca and just make his own little report, like vying for Papa's attention.
Yes. Oh, yeah. He did not like him. He was like, this is my bootlicking session, not yours.
So maybe that's sort of the norm for rapidly ascending peacekeeper careers.
Seems to make sense, yeah.
That you find someone.
It's the overachiever who get places.
Yeah, but with a specific notion that maybe they need to attach themselves to already successful leaders, sort of like the Sith concept. That there's always a master and an apprentice, and then there's vying for dominance.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I can lead with that theory. I mean, it makes for a peculiar dynamic, and it's risky because if you're the person you pick gets discredited, then there goes your opportunity. So,
let's see what that has in store for Braca. Actually, hey, do you want to speculate on that? Do you want to spend some points?
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah,
let's go and do a little bit of that. So,
come on.
We have at the end of the season we have Scorpius. Now they're not gonna ditch Scorpius,
or are they?
I mean,
no, I can't even do that. You've seen Farscape,
yeah.
You've seen Farscape, exactly.
And, his command carrier just disappeared. We've got, Commander Cleaverage. She has a name, but...
Grazer. Milan Grazer,
yeah.
Commandant Grazer.
Yeah, so that might be a new... I think there's going to be a new power dynamic between those two.
Okay, so I'm going to write down power struggle, Scorpius and Grazer.
Grazer, yes. I'll do a little sketching first. So there's going to be some issues where Scorpius...
Now, hold on. I'm writing this one down. Yes. And how many points?
Oh, 250.
250. Oh, nice.
We need to get otherwise I need to go large, or otherwise I'm never going to have a chance of getting down to 0 by the end of the episode.
Yeah, bud. Yeah, you've got another 2,100 points to go.
Yeah.
Well done. Okay, so power struggle, Scorpius, Grazer. Yep.
And let's see, how's that going to develop? That's going to be... So I think there's going to be some sort of... I'll put another 150 points on there. It's going to be a court-martial for Scorpius.
Oh, court-martial, Scorpius. Scorp-martial, I'm writing down.
Scorp-martial.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to remember what that means when I read it back next year.
So there's that.
And that's 150?
Yeah, I'll put 150 points on that. Then, let's see, what else is going to happen? The Peacekeepers are going to still be... Right, so along the lines, there's going to be more. I'll put another 250 points on. There going to be military developments between the Scarrans and the Peacekeepers, as in escalating military conflict.
Military escalation.
Escalating military conflict between the Scarrans and the Peacekeepers.
Escalating conflict.
Yeah.
Scarrans, PKs. Yep. Okay. This is excellent, dude. You're doing really well.
Oh, because I'm trying to get in the mind of our Dave Elsey and Elsey's from the
he's from the Creature Shop. You're thinking of Ricky Manning,
right? Yes,
David Kemper, Rockney O'Bannon. Yeah,
but those trying to get into those minds and see where they will take it.
Right, because at this point, with everything they filmed, they've already got a very clear idea of how season 4 is going to start and end. They haven't necessarily written all the episodes in between.
Right. Does the season have a name that I'm at liberty to hearing already? I mean, this is season 3 was the season of death. Is there there's no such thing for season 4 that I'm at liberty to...
Exactly. To the totality of your question, no.
Okay, fair point.
All right. None of this includes Braca, though.
No. Oh, well, I mean, I think Braca's going to be around. Maybe Braca...
All right. Think about that.
All right. I'll put 100 points on... Braca being put in a position of authority over Scorpius.
Okay.
I think it's a bit of a long shot, but...
Authority over Scorpius.
We
like long shots. We like wild swings.
As a handler or something like that. Okay, we'll let him back, but we'll let you do your thing because we realize that the wormhole technology is still important, but you're reporting to Braca now.
Interesting.
Something along those lines.
Okay, so I'm noticing that the wilder your sort of prediction, the less you're gambling on it.
Well, that's reasonable, isn't it?
No, that's fine. That's fine. All right.
Those are the risky long shots. You don't.
This is a nice batch. Like you've already got. Let's see. That's 750 points. That's a pretty significant
almost
chunk.
A third
out.
already there. Yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah. You've got 1,600 to go. All right. Let's see about another question because I'm into these. Lee's back, and she has a question about Xalax.
Mm-hmm.
Hi Khaki, hi Kay, it's your musician friend Lee here. And this time I want to talk about the episode Relativity.
Yeah.
In it, Xalax said she was given the choice between killing Talyn and killing Erin, and mentions that Talyn was old and no longer battle-worthy. Taking into account that Xalax is still currently battle-worthy, as evidenced in this episode, and Erin is now a fully grown adult, how much older do you think Talyn is than Xalax?
Okay.
All right. Time to do some maths.
Okay, how old is Talyn?
And she's talking about Erin's father, so Talyn
of course.
Lichak.
Yes. We don't see a lot of old Sebastians, so we don't really know how old they get.
Right, so we actually have 2 touch points on that.
Yeah.
One of them is in different destinations when they go back in time to the planet with the sexy lion people and the nuns and the orphans.
Yes.
And one of the orphans, when she's talking to Dargo, says,
"How long do your people live?"
My mother Sarah lived for 700 cycles.
Okay.
And so, 500 cycles in the future, when they're back in their own time, maybe we'll be able to meet. So there's the possibility that girl could live another 500
And she was
cycles.
Sebastian.
She was a Sebastianoid.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that they weren't actual Sebastians, but I don't know.
I don't think it's specified. It's
Okay.
possible. And the other one is the locket, where Erin is stuck on this planet that only sort of becomes accessible.
And if I recall, that 200 cycles after she is now, then she dies of old age.
Exactly, because it goes in periods of 55 cycles.
Right.
And when she arrives, she has 3 of them when she comes back, so then she's 165 cycles older.
And then she has the last one with John.
Yes, exactly. And then 55 cycles after that, both she and John are pretty advanced in age.
Yeah, so that'll put John at somewhere in his 80s and her at whatever the Sebastian equivalent is of that human age.
Yeah, late 80s definitely, might even be early 90s for John. And she's at least like 215 cycles older than she already was. So taking that as a sort of boundary, like at the moment of her death, she would have been at max 700.
Yeah.
Which means that she would be less than 500 years old at the time of the show.
Right, that doesn't seem to gel with me.
No. Because there is a visible sort of age difference between her and her mother.
Well, they might do aging,
Much like I've been doing so far, which is just save it all up, and sort of remain blissfully unchanged and unimproving and just very, very slowly inching toward, and then boom!
All at once.
Grey beard. That's where I'm going. I'm actually getting highlights put in because I can't wait for the grey to come in. It's going too slowly.
Okay, I find the 700 cycles, I find it hard to reconcile with the age difference between
Xalax and
Zan. Because we don't know how long Erin has been a peacekeeper for.
Right, she's certainly not early career.
No.
Because she's already had a demotion to shuttle pilot.
Right.
And then a re-promotion back to Prowler after betraying Velarek.
Yes.
So she's been around.
Right.
She wasn't green even 5 years ago in the way we weren't.
No, but she was definitely younger, I think.
Yes, I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, she I think they made her look younger in that episode.
Yeah, it was also filmed with a bleach bypass process, which was very interesting, but
I'm going to say that he's going to be at least 150 cycles older than...
I've got a formula.
Xalax.
That I actually... Yes, I've got a formula. In the locket, it took her 215 cycles to become elderly, and it took John 55 cycles to become elderly. So she ages at 1/4 the speed.
That sounds about right, yeah.
If we go for purely linear, like not Southeast Asian aging as the stereotype goes, so she would be 4 times older than John at this point.
Yeah, that makes about sense.
Just essentially dog years,
so
but
about,
in reverse.
Yeah, so about 120, 150.
Yeah, thereabouts.
Somewhere in that range, yeah. But I'm thinking, again, based on what we've seen in Lockhart, that after 165 cycles older than she is now, she's clearly probably not battle ready. She's already getting on at that point.
Yeah, that's retirement age.
Yeah, so let's assume that Talyn was about that age, so that'll put at about 300.
Yeah.
I mean, if we say that she's somewhere in her 30s now, multiply that by 4, that gets you to 100, somewhere between 120 and 140. Add on top of that another 150 for the first 3 cycles in the locket, which puts her at north of 300.
I hope that there are people right now just grabbing pencils and just like, okay.
And I think that would have probably been about Talon's age at that point.
I'm with you. Yeah. Because then essentially you can take like an actor's apparent age and like multiply that by 4, and then you've got their observation years.
But again, then it also means that she actually has to be younger. Well, it depends on how old, because she still entertains the fact that in the choice, it is actually her father. I mean, she doesn't.
But he's like been genetically modified and no idea.
She doesn't immediately dismiss it as in, no, it's impossible because you can't be that old.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay.
So it's a difficult question.
It's really difficult, but it's actually fun to do this sort of math. And it's actually, okay, so this isn't a question, but it's whet my appetite for more maths. So I've got a spreadsheet. In my research, I came across a website in the deep, dark recesses of the internet, and it's called depressedpress.com. It's a person's blog, like they have a job, and they had one post in 2011 which was a catalogue of all the Farscape deaths that they'd seen. And I took this and made it into a spreadsheet. This spreadsheet contains all the deaths that we've seen on Farscape of main characters.
Okay.
Of which there have been a lot.
What's the definition of a main character here?
Opening credits.
Okay.
Right? Who would you guess has died the most?
Well, most of them only die once.
This is Farscape, though.
Yeah.
And we're talking about on-screen deaths.
Oh. Hang on.
Yeah.
I mean, John's died once, twice.
Yeah, when else?
In the locket. No, in the locket. Yeah, he dies.
He doesn't die in the locket.
Oh, no. Oh, hang on. No, crikey.
Yeah.
Rigel, I think, has died most.
Oh, very good. Yes, he was gutted and
yes.
Brought back. And he was also, like, dissected.
Yes.
On screen. No, very good.
So I think Rigel has died the most times.
He had his, let me see, all of his deaths are, he had his throat crushed in Throne for a Loss by Bekesh. Oh, the timey-wimey ones from Back and Back and Back to the Future also count.
Oh, of course, yes. Oh,
exposed to his singularity there. Yeah. A human reaction, the sickness and autopsy. Beware of Dog. Do you remember with the sort of weird critter and the sort of parasite hunting little...
Oh, on the dead Budong.
No.
Oh.
That's when there's all the parasites on Moya, and they bring this big-headed...
Oh, right. Yeah, that thing.
Maybe that's what I saw, a Vork.
It's about this size, naked with a face like this.
No, mine was more like tandoori chicken.
And the parasites impersonate Rigel.
Yes.
Who explodes into goo, so that also counts as an on-screen. I mean, I've got it categorized as fake.
Fair enough, yeah.
And then disembowelment by Zalak, so that brings him
Well, he doesn't die from that, does he?
He was dead. Stark says he was dead.
Okay.
And then he massaged his little heart.
For a while there, you were dead. No. Yes.
So that's 5 deaths.
Yeah.
But with 5, Rigel is actually in 3rd place for the number of on-screen deaths.
Okay.
All right. Who do you think is number 2?
Oh.
Who do you think has died more often on screen than Rigel?
I mean, with Back and Back and Back to the Future, it makes it...
all the way back in season 1.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly how that all went. That's like really old. That's like episode 5.
Yeah, well done.
I'm cheating. I'm looking at the wiki.
Take the compliment.
I do, but it's like I'm also honest.
There was also Picture If You Will.
Yes.
With Kaivan and
that's the one where they get sucked into the painting, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But they do appear to die, so they do sort of, and they even like mourn one another.
Oh man, I don't know. Dargo's number 2.
So absolutely nailed it. Very good. In Exodus from Genesis, it started because there was a Dargo replica made of the blue goo that was killed by a commando. Back and Back to Back to the Future.
Gets it a few times.
Yep, neck snapped, exposed to singularity, exposed to vacuum in They've Got a Secret.
Of course, yeah.
Where she's brought back to life by Zan. Impalement in Picture If You Will. Exposure to vacuum again in Dream a Little Dream. That's Zan's sort of paranoid fantasy.
Yeah.
And the real death in Eat Me, where he's twinned and his twin.
Yes,
is
of course.
actually killed and cremated as well.
Okay, so that leaves the number one spot.
Number one, baby.
Oh, I mean, I don't think it's John. I mean, he doesn't do a lot of dying.
Well, let's make a list of all the times he didn't die then.
Well, I think we can call that our podcast.
Yeah. Oh, it is John, though.
It is John? Okay.
Yeah, head and shoulders with, let me see if the filter is on. Yes, exactly. Because Rigel had 5 deaths, Dargo had 7, and John had 11.
All right, 11.
Also killed by Commando in Exodus from Genesis, he had 3 deaths in Back to the Future. Neck snapped, Qualter blade, and exposure to a singularity. Lethal injection in the flax. Remember when she gives him a kill shot?
Yes. Oh, I suppose that counts, yeah. Like, I mean, temporary death counts, yeah.
Electrocution in picture, if you will. I mean, like cardiac arrest. Like, yeah. Dream a Little Dream, exposure to vacuum. You actually saw his face explode. Aha. My 3 Crichtons.
Oh, yeah, that counts, of course.
That's a Crichton.
Yeah.
Now, I have counted this as only Futuro because Neandro, the primitive version, walks into the orb of his own accord.
Yeah.
And it's unknown what happens to them. So maybe he's still alive out there. Decapitation in Look at the Princess Part 3. That's a little bit iffy, but we are led to believe in that moment that it's lethal.
Right. I mean, they glue the head back on and it's fine, but...
Yeah, it would have been lethal if they hadn't done that.
Yeah.
Obviously, radiation poisoning in different possibilities. Yeah. Dargo kills him in Revenging Angel. Like, he flatlines while he's in his coma.
Oh, yeah.
So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 11. In comparison, Aaron only dies 4 times. This is a really grim topic, by the way, but it is the season of death. So
it is, yeah. Although a lot of these happened, not in season 3.
Yeah, actually, that's a really interesting observation. Season of death, 7 deaths.
Yeah.
Versus 14 in season 2 and a whopping 17 in season 1.
Right.
Which had the timey-wimey one and the duplicates. Yeah. So she was in Back to the Future, exposed to a singularity, an explosion in Dream a Little Dream. In The Locket, she died of old age, which was timey-wimey, and of drowning in Dimey Dichotomy.
Oh, yes. I mean, Jewel hasn't died on screen, has she?
Nope.
No, Chiana maybe also.
Picture, if you will, it was fire.
Right, yes.
And the Chiana twin was killed by Carvok in Eat Me.
Mm-hmm.
Crace just has the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, which we recently witnessed.
Well, it's because he never gets in the weird episodes.
Which is summarized as Splosion. Crace has been in some weird episodes. Oh, but he hasn't done timey-wimey stuff. Yeah, that's right.
I mean, the only ones, like the really weird one is, again, in John's mind, the Earth one, where we get to see Lani Tupu in pumps.
A very good look for him. Hey, and even Moya has died.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, she was decommissioned by the builders back in Space Wales.
Yes. Welsh Caligula, I believe we call it.
Which, of course, Pilot suffered as well.
Yes.
And both of them were destroyed in the Back to the Future, one of those future flashes. Zan, same deal. Exodus from Genesis, Back to the Future, and of course her real departure in Wait for the Wheel. It's actually kind of a depressing topic.
Yes.
I thought this would be a fun observation.
Let's move on to something a little bit more uplifting, because that's what Farscape is known for.
Still doing the stats, though. So we had 4 fake ones, 6 fantasy deaths, 9 real deaths. 9. That's a really impressive number. 10 real deaths that were reversed, and 12 timey-wimey deaths in Farscape so far. But yeah, out of all of these, only 7 out of 38, which I'm quickly going to divide, which is only about 18.5% took place in season 3.
Yeah.
Season of death.
It's not about the numbers, it's how they count.
Well, I timed this poorly because our next question is from Nazi, one of our supporters on Patreon. Thank you so very much. As is Ruth earlier, a recent joiner. We appreciate the help. A question for both of you. Season 3, asks Nazi, is known as the Season of Death. Which of the many character deaths this season was the most impactful for you, and why?
Oh.
Now, it is fair that, let me see, if I take the deaths per season, but then I add a filter for the type, and I filter that on exclusively real deaths, then, no timey-wimey either. Yeah, then there's 1 character death in season 2 and 5 in season 3.
Run them by us.
All right, so the first real death is Turo in My Three Crichtons. That's in season 2. That was the only one there.
Yes.
And let's sort by episode. Then Zan in 304.
Yes.
Yep. Real as in the person does not come back.
Yeah.
Chiana in Eat Me, Dargo in Eat Me, because they are equal and identical.
Yes.
Equal and original. John of radiation poisoning and Crace of explosion. And honestly, missing from this, I'm going to add it right now, Talon.
Yes, fair point.
Right?
I'm going to discard the cloned one, so to speak, even though we don't know which one's the original, because, that's...
But there is no original.
No, that's exactly... But
that was up to that, like, either of them could have made it through. Either of them could have had their whole, like, a whole season.
I agree, but, I mean, the question was which death did we find the most impact? And I don't think those deaths do that, because,
That is sort of fair.
Yeah.
Like we're not grappling with that in the moment. Except for Dargo gets a whole funeral. And
right.
Chiana is really broken up about it.
No, true. But okay, so in my opinion it goes between Zan, John and Talon Crace.
It's a personal, right? Which one affected you personally?
And I'm going to, again throw out John for more or less the same reasons as Chiana and Dargo get.
Right. And
because it's the twin that dies. And of course
and that sort of data just can't go through your Cybertronic matrix and is just immediately rejected.
Oh, no, I mean, yeah. Even though it has huge impact, that impact is mostly on Aaron.
That is true.
Well, John has his own issues with it, of course, but...
Yeah.
So, what's the biggest loss? Like, what will I mourn more? The loss of Zan or the loss of Crace and Talon? Oh, and that's a very tricky one because we haven't really had a lot. I'm going to go with Zan for now, but that's only because I haven't experienced Farscape yet without Crace and Talon in it.
Oh, so that's your criterion,
right? That's
more than the moment itself.
Yes, and even then I'll still go for Zan because, I mean, we talked about this during the episode. The whole build-up is very hidden for Crace. It is present in the episode, but if you're watching it for the first time, it almost seems that it's a throwaway action, that it comes out of nothing.
Yeah, that's spontaneous at the end.
It's only in discussing the episode with you that I got a better insight into that. So I'm going to go with Zan.
For me, it's Crace and Talon, and they're inextricable because they do this as a team.
No, that's why I mentioned them in one breath.
Yeah,
every time.
I think that's true. Because as much as Zan will obviously be missed, and her death was really beautiful. Initially, it wasn't clear to me that she was exiting the series, and I kept hoping for her to come back, which made it extremely sour, a very sour experience. That one. But the sort of mounting realization was, like you, when it happened, I didn't really realize that this is what they were planning, and just this mounting realization as he was holding his speech, that this is what they were planning to do, and that was really, really intense.
As I said, it might. My opinion of it might be different.
Yeah.
After I've watched episode 4, and we're acutely feeling that loss.
This was such a great a question. Like, which of the main character deaths of this season was most impactful for you?
So yes, that would be Zan. Yeah.
And for me, like the first time around, it was almost certainly Zan.
Yeah.
Like that had so much impact. But this time around, like, it was a really beautiful ending that was written for her. Right, really suited her character and brought
Very
closure
much
to the character.
Yeah.
And for Talon and Crace, there was a sort of degree of inevitability that made it even more tragic.
Yes, especially Talon. Yeah.
Poor Talon. Well, okay.
Again, we said I do believe I said something about a little bit more cheerful, but
no, we're going to stick with the predictions. Who do you think is going to die next season?
Oh,
yeah.
Well, for real, or for play?
You can do both.
Okay.
You can do either.
All right. So, who's going to kick it? I think. Oh well, I mean, John is like being particularly favourite to do horrible things to. So
yes, there was the Society Against Cruelty to Crichton, a special subgroup of fans that complained whenever something awful happened.
Enough
to John.
already.
Yeah.
But it's like they can't be happy. That's like doesn't make for good television. It's like,
well, considering the state everyone's in at the end of season 3, there's going to be some really good television in the future, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, it was all going too well, so we needed a little bit more misery thrown in. Okay.
And this was the season that started with Aaron dead and John lobotomized and everyone hopeless and the...
Yeah, and it did get better for a bit. And then, I mean, it's a fine line you have to balance as a writer to keep it going, It's like you have to make things go good and make things go bad again, but you can't change too much.
But I will say, for one thing that Farscape does better than many other series that went before it, when you get punched, it hurts. That was one of the mantras that they kept on. Like whenever there's a tragedy, whenever there's a trauma, it stays.
Yes, very much so.
I mean, you saw that like John's grown into shoot first, ask questions later, early in season 3.
Yes,
right when they beware of dog. He's not that curious. He's not.
No, he's a lot more looking out. He's a lot more willing to go to violence quickly. I think.
John's
prediction.
Buy it.
I think John's going to buy it. I think think probably Jewel is going to be the first one to die in the next season.
Okay, one thing at a time. So season, yeah. How many points for John's going to buy it?
Oh, I'll throw 250 on that. And
250.
And I'll put 150 on Jewel being the first to buy it.
Jewel's gonna die first. Oh, I can't believe that I'm typing these things so coolly. Is this what sort of cyborg life is like?
I suppose so, yeah.
Is it sort of... Okay, 150. Oh, there we go. All right, anyone else?
Sorry about that.
That was a packet of Kleenex being thrown at Her Majesty, who is at my side, who is apparently over-grooming her tummy, which is why her tummy is a little bit bald and she has to be distracted when she's sort of locked in a loop. Is this a household full of cyborgs that just get locked in little software loops?
I suppose so, yeah.
Interesting.
What was the question? Like Jewel first. I mean, it's fairly safe bet that at least half of the cast are going to die at some point during the next.
Okay.
I mean,
for real?
As in leaving the show deaths.
Well, I mean, that's up to you, but you need to specify.
Okay, no, I don't think any of those are going to be leaving the show deaths.
Okay, so non-permanent.
Yeah, non-permanent deaths. So like either clones or something or visions. Okay. I mean, okay. Here's one. I think there's going to be a story arc. Let's call it that, which is going to turn out to be a protracted vision that Chiana has, a protractive precognitive vision that Chiana has.
Oh, okay. Story arc, that's Chiana's precog vision. Oh, that.
And it might just be a B plot or in an episode, or it might be over more episodes. I don't know, but I think that's.
I'll call it the storyline then, because arc suggests multiple.
Right? Yes. No. Storyline is probably better. Yeah.
All right. And
I'll put 250 on that.
Another 250. Going rapidly. There we go. 950 to go.
All right.
Do you want to make another prediction about, are these the only deaths that you foresee in the next 22-episode season? Really tempting you, aren't I? It's this little horny trident-wielding angel on your shoulder.
I don't know. I mean, it's it's also speculative. You can go anywhere. It's like...
That's Farscape, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't have any reason to believe any of this. I'm just making it up as I'm sitting here, just trying to envision what the writing team might come up with in their.
You've seen 3 seasons now.
I know, but it's still so up there. You don't know what they might do. They might, whatever weird thought occurred to one of them in their writing room, and we can run with that.
That's
exactly how that kind of thing happens.
Yeah, that's why the show can continue to surprise you. All right.
Okay, I'll put another 100. I'll put another 100. I'll put another 150 on Scorpius.
Scorpius buying it.
Yeah.
Oh no! Scorpius is gonna die. Oh.
And I think the crew will actually have to fight to get him back, because for some reason they've become dependent on Scorpius for something or the other, and the crew is going to be working towards reviving him.
Oh. Interesting. Oh. What a cool season this is going to shape up.
I know,
to
right?
Be.
I should have been in on this when they were writing it.
We've said that before. Oh, Lucy from the south of England, and watched Farscape from the very beginning and was immediately hooked with it, as was I. And Lucy asks, out of all the characters that died during this season, well, episode 1 was called The Season of Death. Yeah, thank you, Lucy. Who would you bring back? And this is the sort of full breadth of deaths in the, all the categories that we've...
Right. Oh, well, I mean, that's... who would you bring back?
I think this is a really interesting question.
Yeah. Oh.
Because I'm thinking, because we've talked about main character death, but there've also been several other ones, like Jules' cousin.
Yes, who was dead on arrival, pretty much.
Right. Mordal, the barkeep in Sons and Lovers, big sort of giant walrus tentacle octopus dude. Could be Linfer.
Who's Linfer again?
She was the scientist who defected from...
yes. She would have been an interesting addition as well.
I think she has too much of her own thing going on, though. Like she wanted to go off on a different adventure with Pilot and Moya, who would have welcomed the opportunity.
I mean, the easy answer would be Zahn, because, Zahn.
Yes. Yes.
That's...
Oh, but then this season wouldn't have been what it was, because she's such a stabilizing influence.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but bring back, it's like, it's not undo their death, the question. It's like, who would be...
Oh.
I mean, that's how I choose to interpret
it.
No,
I think that's really... I hadn't even considered that. You're completely right.
And it's also the one who would be, story-wise, the easiest to bring back. Because like we talked about, like we saw her Force Ghost in the wormhole.
Yes, the orange energy that... And so many others had their hopes pinned on.
It's like it would be so easy to use that to bring her back at any time, but we know that it's for reasons
outside of anyone's control.
Right.
There was an interesting observation by David Kemper about season 3 following Zahn's death, because she's sort of a mother figure, right?
Yeah.
The wolf mother, very protective, but also very compassionate in teaching people lessons, and the loss of that stabilizing influence made all the characters really interesting in new ways. And he sort of described it as the kids going off to college.
Oh, yes.
And like living on their own for realsies without their parents' stabilizing influence.
Yeah. Well, there's Moya and Pilot.
Yeah, who also have to assert themselves because they don't have an empathetic person.
But they actually start doing that now.
Yeah.
Especially Pilot is definitely becoming more assertive. And
here.
Me and Moya think...
If Zahn had come back after a few episodes, right, if she planted him in the ground, would you have wanted to see her on the Moya episodes or the Talon episodes?
Oh.
Which crew would you have placed her with?
Okay, so I think story-wise, the Talon crew is the more interesting, at least more memorable.
All right, then she would have been with Stark as well.
Right. I mean, I struggle a lot more to remember the Moya episodes than the Talon episodes.
Well, you had I forget what it's called with the Energy Rider. That was really interesting.
Yes, that is like an episode. I mean, that came up in my homework as well, and I can't remember anything. It's like which episode was that? That was
Losing Time.
Losing Time. Energy Riders with Hidden Agenda copied. Yes, I've read the description. I've gone back to my notes.
It's the one where Chiana is taken over by a criminal young wave rider, and she does the weird accent with talking about the body.
Yeah. Losing Time. Okay.
Heard him say, "I hurt this body." Not true. Love this tight body.
Oh yeah, we all love this body.
Scorpio's Y-front. I'm just reading a few of my notes from this episode. First one is Scorpio's Y-front.
Yep.
Server rack overheating, Miss Monochrome, electromagnetic cluster frel, big puddle for a nosebleed, Stigmata John, life on Moya, what do they do for entertainment, deploy him, ? Dargo's nose is more of a shield. Scorpio's back to leading through terror. Entity is up to something. Rider bullshit. Pilot expression O-face. Pike ? Starbus chamber is like Moonraker launch.
Yeah.
Sorry. Actual alien motives and actions.
Yes.
And something I can't read.
Probably prescription for whatever.
Mapok Moya.
Map of Moya.
Map of Moya. Oh yeah, star charts, yes. And Furby treasure.
Furby treasure.
That's what I think it says here.
Lost me on that one.
No, I know, but and I literally cannot remember anything of this episode. I don't know. It's just a blank. None of this rings a bell in my mind.
Really, John sort of hovering above the ground and bleeding from the nose. There's also a moment where they all gathered around on a table, and then they see on the recording that they sort of fell unconscious and did the hokey cokey. Then they woke back up again.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, right.
Let me have a look at the gifs. Maybe that will... Oh, yes, here we've got the big puddle of blood for the nosebleed. Great shots of Pilot. Oh, here we have Strappa getting a talking to from...
that was his introduction.
A little bit of Star Wars lasers. No. For some
reason... So you've looked through the... Well, I guess we have a new candidate for a rewatch.
Yes.
The next time that
I have no idea, but I have
Gigi.
no memory of this episode for some reason.
So maybe you've lost time.
I guess so, yeah.
So while you were looking through the GIFs and I was just casually sitting in around day drinking, as we do during this podcast, I thought that maybe the best moment for Zahn to come back would have been Dog with Two Bones.
Yeah.
That would have been an interesting moment, like in the graveyard. I don't know what she would be doing, maybe even in cahoots with the old woman.
Yeah,
but just like a mysterious reappears, because at the end we're left with all these mysteries.
Yes, quite a few. Yeah,
right. Some of them just haven't been shown to us. Like, where did the rest of the crew go? Because I think it's just Jewel aboard and the old woman. But like, where did the wormhole come from?
Where did it suddenly suck Moya in? That never seems to be a problem before.
Right.
Yeah.
So very curious about how that would have turned out. I mean, if she'd shown up, maybe not even to John, but just wandered onto Moya after they'd gone through wherever they went in the wormhole, and to say, "Okay, kids, it's about to get complicated."
Yeah, I mean that would make sense, because then you could really combine that with her dying in the wormhole and suddenly and whatever that being the cause of her. Oh yes,
she died mid wormhole.
Yeah, exactly. So that would make perfect sense.
Breaking news! Stop the presses! Kay, something amazing has happened.
What happened?
Something amazing has happened. Okay, so we've been looking at our database this whole time, and we will return to our handy dandy database. But in the meantime, we have actually had a response to our little... I set out a Twitter call, our Twitter @sofarscape.com, asking for questions that people would like to see answered during Season 3, and we just got a tweet reply from one Dave Elsey, the head of the creature shop.
Oh my God! Senpai noticed us.
Senpai did indeed notice us. Who asked us, which I'm still flabbergasted. This is @DaveLCFX, and once again, he's the head of the creature shop. You've undoubtedly seen all of his creations. And Dave asks, pardon me, Mr. Elsie, if there was a movie version of Farscape, which creature characters featured in the show would you love to have in it, and why?
Ooh.
Now, I am choosing to believe that they are currently making a...
Yes, let's go with
right?
that.
And he's just sort of sitting around going, gosh, I wonder what to put in it.
Yeah, like he probably ran out of ideas or something.
Nothing really comes to mind. Well, maybe some of the old favourites. Maybe he's consulting us, and we have to fill this film with fantastic creatures.
Okay, well, the obvious answer is pilots.
Pilots.
Yeah.
Right, wanted to get that one out of the way,
yes.
But completely unchanged as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it doesn't need a lot. I mean, like I can get a makeover, but not as in new. I mean, they have to redo him anyway, so new techniques, but essentially make him look the same.
And move the same, honestly.
Yeah, true.
Right, imagine if his lips had more mobility, then he wouldn't have that same sort of...
I do think he did become more expressive later on, because I've noticed that he's been giving some scathing looks, and I don't think he was capable of doing that. Or maybe that's just the fact that they, act him... I mean, he's had a lot of character development as well, so...
Right, yeah. And Team Pilot, the puppeteers, have become absolute experts.
Yes.
Who's next on your list?
All right, let's see. Which was a good one? I don't remember a lot about him. I definitely don't remember his name, but it was Rigel's cellmate from Throne for a Loss.
I had him, Jotheb.
Yes.
Jotheb from the Confederacy of Trow.
The imperfection is yours.
I had him written down as well. Oh, I like the non-human ones as well.
They're great. Yeah. So he was fun. He was fun, and plus, there might be it might be something in the Confederacy of Trow. Like where they move on, they have to flee the uncharted territories, and they go roaming about that region, which we know has powerful leaders who get kidnapped very easily, which is kind of weird.
Well, he was a prince or something. I like to think that. I mean, maybe they're a multi-species or like a very, very like a diverse kind of species.
Yeah.
That they have lots of different forms. That maybe this was just a sedentary sit-at-home prince type.
Yeah. Okay, how many points do I get for saying that Namtar's on your list?
Oh my god. Oh no. Okay. Kay, Namtar isn't on my list.
Not?
I know.
Namtar is not on your list?
The quest for perfection demands our unwavering devotion. This Mengele sounds like a visionary.
Okay, I gave you the book, the creatures book, to look through, and I didn't look through it well enough myself, and so I was just looking for creatures, species, on the Farscape Encyclopedia project, where I do most of my research, and he's not a species.
Fair enough.
Namtar's great.
Yeah.
No, regrettably, no. Oh, how about the Shiyang? Do you have the Shiyang on your list?
I don't. They're
fire-breathing fish.
Yeah, I don't, but I can see why they would be there.
We've almost
they're
forgotten,
really cool.
Forgotten that Dave Elsey is asking us this, and now we're sort of making a game for each other, which is kind of on par for us.
Well, yes. I mean, that's like what we do. So, yes. No, they're good. They look a bit dumpy, but, the fire-breathing things are cool, and it's just not... We have the heat ray Scarron, of course.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it would be hard to avoid the Scarron as well, but...
Yeah, but we're gonna see more of the Scarrons. That's almost like Pilot's kind of a gimme.
They're the new band. Yeah, well, Pilot. You can't have the show without Pilot. And we're also not mentioning Rigel, because Rigel also is a...
Say, Zan, Dargo...
Yeah, all the regular cast, of course. So we're delving into the slightly more... esoteric ones, I suppose.
Yeah, but I love that we both of us put our foot down, like, definitely everyone, but absolutely Pilot.
Yes. Well, okay, my number one, I think, will be Kaba.
You're already at number one?
Oh, yeah, I didn't have that long a list.
Kaba's on mine as well.
Kaba is definitely on my list.
He is the
Scratch and
Hanji.
Sniff. Yes, the guy who can pop his eye out and, record it in other places. A little bit like Ogma from...
Yeah, that's true. Oh, and Mr. Elsey, if you're listening to this, you have admitted to us on Twitter that there is definitely a videotape of Kaba lip-syncing along to I'm a Sweet Transvestite from... Yes, we would very much like to see that video clip. We will keep it secret, but
yes,
it would make our little lives complete.
We would be so thrilled.
Oh, okay, so I have a few more.
Okay, bring it.
I was expecting you to also have the Venex.
Which one are those again?
They're the sexy lion men from the time travel episode.
No, didn't really. They didn't really
Vincent
trigger,
from Beauty and the Beast in the 80s.
Trigger
Okay,
I mean, they're great, of course, but it's
Seer Croesus.
Seer Croesus. She's the Luxon.
No, Seer Croesus was the sort of mystic on the head in a box, the baby head in a box.
Oh, right, yes. I'm not sure I want to see more of that.
Okay, well, fair enough.
It would be...
Okay, so that's on a maybe.
Okay, yes. I mean, maybe they have them tucked away somewhere in an alcove on Moya, and when they're really, really desperate, they go over there and they open the alcove and they ask the seer what they have to say about it.
Wow, to their eternal detriment. And then just as halfway through his prophecy, nope, that's enough. Just shut the door. Yeah.
Still don't trust you.
Okay, well, I have a suggestion for Mr. Elsey. If you're sort of Brewster's Millionsing and you just can't spend your budget and you need to, may I recommend a Budong? A live-action animatronic Budong.
Well, that's going to be tricky.
It's Dave Elsey we're talking about.
True.
And the whole sort of creature shop.
Yes, I mean, you would need the entire creature shop, and even then, I mean, Budongs would be CGI, wouldn't they? Unless they're doing internal shots, and that's like...
No!
Okay.
CGI is for wusses! Come on!
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay, the other way around, I also had the Dentic.
The Dentic? Oh. Ooh.
I know, it's not something you've...
No.
Just imagine, how... Because...
Okay, now I'm reminded of that fanfic that we read about, John frying up Dentics, and I'm not really sure I'm down with that.
Oh, he actually did that when they were super hungry, and it was not
That wasn't a fanfic. No, you're right. No.
Yeah.
It was the fanfic, I think, where he accidentally swallowed one, and it gave him
a case of
right. Gastrointestinal problems.
Yeah, he almost went full blueberry, like that one child in Willy Wonka.
Yes. Oh.
Okay, my number one?
Yes.
Natira,
the mistress of the Shadow Vault, right?
That's
yes.
right. Oh. Right, she's got those claws, those arms coming off the back of her head. What else has she got?
Oh yes.
And she walks around fully naked. Like, that's just her in her birthday suit, right? Her carapace.
Yes, and the weird kinky sex with Scorpius.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I can see that, yeah.
Because, like, if it's a movie version, go wild. On a movie, even if it's a PG-13 movie, you can do a lot more than you can do on Australian television in 1999.
I suppose so, yes.
And the actress seemed to really, really appreciate the sort of creature that she was stuffed into.
Yes, I mean, it was a bit spidery. There was a little bit of Black Widow energy that you got from that, but...
Yeah. I mean, you saw that in the Shadow Depository. Everything was octagonal. There was lots of sort of web imagery. But at the same time, like, she had a sort of crab or blue lobster carapace.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I mean, crabs are just basically sea spiders, so...
Yeah, that's not fun to think about at all.
No, I know. But anyway.
Okay, so we've got Kabar.
Yes.
And we've got Natira. So, yeah.
Yes. Have we covered have we covered the why enough? I think we have. We've said of each
because they're amazing.
They are amazing, and they're just like so much fun to look at, and they bring so much life to the show.
And they do stuff.
Yeah.
Like Natira has her head things and likes to eat eyes. And
oh God, don't remind me.
Actually, the Hanji can pop out his eyes, so they're kind of sort of. Oh
That'd
God,
make for an interesting dynamic if we got them both.
That'd be a match made in heaven.
Well, or not.
Well,
can
you imagine the fun that they can have?
It depends on how many eyes he can regrow. If that's a one-time thing.
Only one way to find out.
Oof, Mr. Elsie, get on it. Thank you so much. That was a really good question.
I'm also sorry. I wish we were better people that you could actually enjoy this.
I still say we would do pretty well in the writer room.
Not so much in accounting, though.
Well, no.
Okay, we have one more question. Actually, it's a bunch of questions. It's from the Derp Prime, who first discovered Farscape through Sci-Fi. Toward the end, read, the redaction is actually mine, because they spoke about bits of the future that have not been revealed yet. And they were essentially marathoning it on the Sci-Fi channel and discovered us by our pre-airing commercial in the lookout for more Farscape podcasts. Actually, from day one.
Excellent.
Okay. Now, these are some very general questions, which I think is an interesting way to close out our Season 3 retrospective, because they're topics that we have spoken about before, and let's see if our perspectives have changed.
Okay.
How do you guys think that Farscape has held up conventional sci-fi tropes, but also defied them?
Okay. They're one of the forerunners of the long-term story arcs in modern TV. It's like they're very much at the forefront of the revival of TV.
Right, yes, the sort of prestige era.
Right.
But so was Babylon 5. Babylon 5 preceded them by handily, 6 years.
Yes.
But that was much more extreme serialization.
I suppose, yes. Whereas, I mean, I never really watched more than the first 2 seasons of Bab 5, I think. I kind of petered off on that.
I can understand, and it's a terrible shame. Maybe one day I'll tempt you back into it.
Right. It was. I think it was just circumstantial that wherever I was watching them on stopped being on my regular access or something. I mean, when did Bab 5 originally air again?
93.
93. Was it on Sky or on the Beeb?
That's a good point. I think it was on one of the Dutch channels. The Beeb didn't run it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Beeb is the BBC for our non-British sphere.
And there was a few years that I had access to Sky there because we were the student housing where I was in at the time.
Okay, listen. How do you guys think Farscape has held up conventional sci-fi tropes but also defied them?
Okay. I mean, there's a lot of conventional sci-fi tropes in there.
It's a bit of a very deliberate inversion of Star Trek, which explains sort of the similarities between Farscape and Lex, which was also anti-Star Trek. Not a large crew, not well-staffed ship that is controlled by people, but no, they're completely out of control. They don't know how to use it. They're very diverse. They're not homogenous. They don't wear uniforms. They don't agree.
Yeah,
and they bang a lot, and they die, and they do drugs.
I don't think. I would almost say that it's not really a sci-fi show.
Interesting.
That it's just a show in space.
Okay, but there is the concept of hard sci-fi.
Right.
Which is really about the science.
Yes, exactly, which it definitely isn't.
And there's a degree of fiction that would not be possible without some unexplained scientific advances.
Right. But try to imagine, you could tell this entire story in a, let's say, U.S. Civil War period.
Oh, interesting. On like a riverboat?
Yeah, a riverboat. Of course, there's Moya and Pilot, which are an integral part of the story. But again,
a riverboat and a skipper.
Yeah, something like that. You could probably tell a lot of that. Tell a lot of the sort of same thing.
How would you do Eat Me?
Especially
in a American Civil War era.
Sorry, how would I?
Eat Me.
Well, okay, you can't, of course, not do it a blow-by-blow thing.
Okay, and My Three Crichtons?
But there would be... Oh, and you can go supernatural in that, you know. There's a lot of the sci-fi could be swapped around with supernatural activity.
True. Or just eating some drugs.
Yeah.
And then having some visions. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, like haunted paintings, that seems like a perfectly good thing that you can do in...
Gothic, yeah.
Yeah.
But like, okay, it's space opera, certainly.
You're right.
Right, and if you go to your library and you look under sci-fi, then
space opera is under sci-fi. No, totally true.
But you're right; it's certainly not a hard sci-fi.
Yeah. Okay, I find this a very difficult question to because I'd have to start up looking at some tropes. Because I mean, I'm really bad at like recognizing tropes for what they are.
Well, they've had. Like, certainly early on, they had some fairly standard sci-fi episodes. I mean, there's the time loop. That was Back and Back and Back to the Future. There was even, like, I thought IET was a great reversal of sci-fi tropes. But I think in Season 3, they've sort of let go of having an explicit relationship with sci-fi canon.
Yes.
And Season 3 is just Farscape. It's just its own thing.
And it's about the personal development and the interaction between the characters and not about, everything else, everything that's happening around them is just carrier for that, I would say.
Yeah. Like more than the sci-fi series at the time, which was, of course, the Star Treks. Like, these characters are capable of change, not only in terms of like their experience and personality and how they and their relationships, but also just physically where they are and what they do in space, going off in different directions, separating from one another, coming back. Like, Babylon 5 didn't do that. Babylon 5 had the central location.
Right, well, Bab 5 was like, the whole premise is we're on this station, and the whole premise of Star Trek is we are going everywhere. And
but we're all staying together on the ship.
Yeah, and Farscape, it almost seems, you know, there's a little bit of Planet of the Week. I mean, that's but then again, there's other episodes which are like completely, like, just take place on Moya.
Yep, bottle episodes as they're known.
So there's I would say that they do quite a bit of subverting tropes in that regard.
And on that note, says the Derp Prime, how do you think it compares / contrasts to the likes of Star Trek, Star Wars, Babylon 5? And like, well, we just answered that one, but not Star Wars. Star Wars is an interesting comparison because that's also an adventure, much like Farscape.
Yes, but Star Wars is traditionally, I mean, not far less serialized. I mean, there have been series now. I mean, especially in the last few years, when with the Book of Boba Fett and the Mandalorian, and of course,
so good
cartoons, which have been going for a lot longer. But originally, Star Wars was more movies and more long storylines, and not serialized.
You know, I think it's actually fair to bring in the cartoons. I mean, I've just recently finished the Star Wars Rebels podcast that I'm on Rebel Air.
Podcast.
Yeah, where my friend Greg has been showing it to me. And like, this aired in 2014. But there are a lot of adults now whose first experience of Star Wars was Rebels on Saturday mornings, right? That was 8 years ago that started, and those characters are evidently like seeping back in. This was a way to like make Star Wars accessible to an entirely new audience that would come to fruition in 8, 10, 20 years down the line. So for a lot of people, like, the animated series, which were not core to Star Wars for us, are very important parts of the experience.
Yeah, I remember it in a little thing, and I was sitting in an airport lounge at some point, and there was a mother with 2 kids there, and the boy was, I don't know, 6 or 7, I suppose. I'm really terrible at guessing how old kids are, and he was like babbling a little bit about Star Wars, and I go, oh, you're like a big Star Wars fan. And the eye roll that his mother gave me was like fantastic.
Don't get him started. Trying to get him into VeggieTales.
No, it was hilarious. It was great. I just had a little natter with him and like asked him what his favorite movie was. And,
what was it?
I think it was the Phantom Menace.
Right, makes total sense.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people for whom that's their favorite movie because they were 8 and there's an 8-year-old in it.
There you go. Yeah, that's...
And it's a rollicking adventure. It's really, really great. I mean, I certainly regret being a sort of a worse version of myself in the edgelord 90s and joining in the sort of knee-jerk derision of Jar Jar Binks, who is looking back on it, a tremendous, like, comedic creation by, like, a 20-year-old kid from a dance troupe. Like, Ahmed Best was in Stomp before he did.
Nice. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Working with some of the most advanced, like, CGI technology that existed at the time to create this memorable character out of nothing.
Shame they let George Lucas write the dialogue.
Well, but I think it holds up very strongly to Star Wars. I think that's a very fair comparison. Like, even
totally.
the initial pitch was to have, like, the cantina scene from Star Wars every episode on a television budget.
Which is what they have.
Yeah.
It's no. So, is there another part to that question?
Finally.
Yeah.
If you could retro rewrite, fun word that, any species design or logic or story, what would it be and why?
Oh.
Now, how do we interpret this? Is it
retro rewrite any species design or story? Oh.
I mean, if it's the species, I would make them weirder. Species design, I would love for them to be weirder. And I think that, like, if there were a Farscape sort of reboot now and Dave Elsey just whisper his name into the mirror 3 times while you're on the set of a Star Wars Farscape production and he will just appear and take over the creature shop, he would have loved for them to all be weirder. No more bipeds.
I think I would do the Skeksis ones.
Oh, the Halosians.
The Halosians, yeah, they could have been weirder.
Yeah, I agree. Like, that was a fun bit of... This is some good fun for the fans who know what we're looking at.
Right.
But, there's no way that I'm not gonna change the Scarans. I think they're great that they're so wild. Like, Najgil was so different, and so was Tauza, the female. Right. I really like that. Yeah, maybe the chicken tikka masala, or whatever it is, the chicken tandoori, the sort of parasite hunting creature and his odd little Buddha version.
Oh, yeah, that was a bit weird.
They put a little person actor inside and was not happy, walked off the set, had to be replaced.
Okay.
Because it was just atrocious, that stupid little suit.
Right, yeah, I can imagine that. Yeah.
Maybe even Moya.
Oh.
Just more of a weirdness. It wouldn't change the shape, wouldn't change the sets, but, like, more dimensionality, stuff coming out of the floors, more stairs, or
oh yeah, we've never seen a single. I mean, the only stair was seen is for the ladder that goes up to the transport pods.
I think the suggestion is that there's just the sort of gliding ascent and descent in the floors, but
actually no, there are ladders.
Yeah, there are ladders.
But yeah, that's about the only time. You'd think that if you want to go between the various levels, then there's going to be something else than that.
Like, how does Rigel do it? It's just sort of...
There's no elevator. Well, I mean, his throne sled can fly down, so, like, all you need is a fireman's pole, and he can, like...
Yes, that's what I want. But one of them with a gravity switch, so you can also slide up if you want.
Oh, well, if you have a gravity switch, then you don't need the pole. You can have gravity tubes.
No, the pole's fun, though. Otherwise, what's going to make the squeaking? Okay. And if we could rewrite any story...
Oh, I wouldn't be so presumptuous.
Well, I think that Scratch and Sniff could have delved a lot more into just the sort of abuse, like the very specific abuse and exploitation of young women in the sort of party scene, which was all on screen, but because nobody dealt with it, right? He was a sleazebag, the criminal, and was killing these young women. But it's a very specific story, very recognizable in modern life, and we happen to be both gentlemen who are taller than average, even in the Netherlands, where we are pretty tall. And so we enjoy a level of privilege that a lot of people don't. Like, it's not... We're not so trepidatious walking on down an empty train station. I mean, I still am. I'm a delicate little fop, but...
Yeah. Well, it's like, I do recognize that feeling when there's suddenly like a really tall person standing around, and I was like, okay, like, wow, that's a tall cookie. And then we realize that a lot of people must have that all the time. But then again...
For a lot of people, that's just what the world looks like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then again, it's also not so unusual for them to run into tall people, because if you're short, then everybody's tall. So
this exploitation, I don't feel was served well enough, and that episode really should have been a lot more horrible. I mean, we even discussed it with some of our beloved listeners who really didn't enjoy the episode for that reason.
Yeah.
Even after listening to us having a good old time with it. So I actually think that's one that I would like to... We shouldn't have been able to enjoy it so easily.
No,
we should have shared that particular fear, I guess.
Yes. Good point. Yeah, very good.
Now, let's see if there's anything that I'd want to turn around. Oh, yes, I would just delete I-Yench, U-Yench, and just never have that happen off screen. And just instead do, I don't know, kind of Waiting for Godot with Pilot and...
Godot?
Oh, Waiting for Godot is a play where nothing happens. Two characters are just waiting for a third character to appear, and just... it's sort of like... you've seen Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead?
I haven't actually, no.
Oh, okay, I haven't either. I thought you were the more cultured person. But yeah, it's just two characters just hanging out with nothing to do and just having conversations. And amazingly, you can write a whole play around that is still being performed today. Waiting for Godot was once performed by Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart.
Oh, damn.
Right? If I'd known that was happening, I would have emptied my little piggy bank and flown over to London to go and see that.
Yes, I can imagine that would have been quite the performance.
So who would be chatting with Pilot?
Oh.
Like off-screen, when everybody else is having their adventures...
Ooh.
Who does Pilot chat with?
I mean, I'd say Aaron or Chiana seem to me the one. The
dark horse. Yeah, Chiana. I like that.
That seems to me that like the two people who would be most interested to have a protracted, just like nattering about. And I think Chiana's would be the more interesting one.
I think the more likely also.
Yeah.
Because Aaron and Pilot, they do have an understanding and an affection, but Aaron isn't the kind of person who expresses that verbally.
No, and Chiana is, and Chiana would gossip, and Chiana would talk about people behind their back, and it would be...
I bet she's the only one that he's let in on the sort of intergalactic game of Scrabble that he plays with the other pilots.
Yes.
That there's a secret transmitter which never fails, but they can only use that for non-business things. Like you are obligated to let your Leviathan die rather than betray the communication channel that is only for gossiping and playing space Scrabble.
Yes. Wow.
Well, that's it for the questions. Thank you so much for everyone who sent in these fantastic questions and comments. Thank you. What? Oh, there's one that just came in.
Oh, well, seriously?
Yeah, it just came in. But Jess, who is from the UK and has been a Farscape fan since it first started and found the podcast because she knows the hosts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's our friend Jess. So many deaths this season. Who will you miss the most and which affected you the most emotionally? Yeah, just listen to the episode, Jess. Just rewind. It's all in there. Imagine that. Like, she sent this in while we were recording.
Damn.
Thankfully, we've already answered
such timing, yeah.
So thank you, Jess, Laura, Beta Z Lady, Ruth, the Muppet Sex and Trauma podcast. Once again, twitter.com/MuppetSexandT1. I even know it by heart now.
Yeah.
Alex G, who I think should probably give that a listen and see some more queer perspectives, less filtered queer perspectives on our beloved show. Lee, the excellent musician who has created our theme song and who performs as Give Them L on Spotify.
Love that name.
Lee, it's so good. It's so good. Do you see her album cover on one of her EPs? Ooh. Like, it's even got smashing through a glass ceiling. Like, she's...
No, I have not.
Punk musicians.
You have to show me, yeah.
Punk musicians are not subtle about their imagery. I love that. Tasha, Nazi, Lucy, Lee again, the Derp Prime. Thank you so much. And then before we finish,
you have to push the button.
Oh,
no, the other one.
The other one. Oh yes. Oh my God. Yes. We've got to figure out. Like you were holding on to.
She gives me a Woody.
She gives you the Willy.
Can't believe I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's like we haven't talked about our favorite
episode. A full season, a 22-episode long Willy and Woody.
Well, okay, I'm going to turn it into like favorite and least favorite episode. How about that?
All right, basically. Let's start with the least favorite.
All right. So
where did your Willy go?
Candidates. Okay, so episode 305, Different Destinations, is a candidate. Because it's a bottle episode, and I remember what happened, but it didn't really stand out to me very much. Losing Time.
But you didn't remember that.
Exactly, least memorable. I've got that written down.
That's not your least favourite.
No, fair enough.
It's one you can do without. But
Meltdown might have also been on my list.
Really?
Yeah. Again,
the horny one? With Mook Quillis and where they're all over each other?
I forgot about that part. It was just like, talent gets like suckered in, and it's...
you forgot about the horny gas.
I forgot about the horny gas. Yeah, absolutely.
See, these are the kind of fun mistakes that only a first-timer can make. Yeah. It's so innocent. Don't worry, I'll fix you.
So I guess it'll be Different Destinations, because like it's a bottle episode in which like...
Oh, right. So, but that's the one with the sexy lion men, though.
Which I wasn't like...
Really? It's like Vincent from Beauty and the Beast.
A little bit,
and they
had like the weird monastery high on top of the mountain, and like apparently really good spear throwers.
Well, okay.
And so, I mean, I guess that.
All right. So different destinations get your Willy for the season.
I guess that would be my. I guess that would be my.
Okay. Well. It's clearly I Yench, you Yench for me.
Right, yes.
I can't believe that I Yench wasn't even on the list for you.
I mean, you only dislike it because of the annoying little blue aliens.
Yes, Kay. That's why I dislike it. They're really annoying. Nobody else is ever that annoying without also being charming.
Okay.
They are charming. No, I'm not going to give it to them.
But I like it because of I love the whole arc between Scorpius and Rigel.
I think
good. That's really good how they to negotiate and
intelligence does not cancel out stupidity for me though. I'm going to stick to my guns. It's going to be I Yench, you Yench. All right. Favorites. This is really hard. It's a very good season.
Right. Yes. I mean, I've already mentioned that Choice is definitely a candidate.
I mean, yeah.
But I think my Woody for episode goes to Scratch and Sniff.
Oh.
Because I love the comedic value of it. I love John and Dargo's appetites. And there is the issue that we just talked about with the exploitation of young ladies, which is
yes, but that is a lack of exploration in the episode. It's not like the episode itself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I love the whole framework with John and Pilot of like him talking to Pilot and trying to explain his way out of being in detention with Mom. And like, no, it's really not our fault. And it's like, I know you told us to go away, but there's like this thing that happened and...
Which was filmed at the last minute.
Yeah.
Very sneaky to add this sort of framing device because Andrew Prowse is an absolute genius and really cares about making Farscape the best it could be. Oh, that's a great choice.
So I think that one gets my favorite episode of the season.
I think mine is Eat Me.
Okay.
Because aside from kicking off one of the most like ambitious concept changes that I've seen in a sci-fi series, like now there's going to be 2 of them, and then it turns out there's going to be 2 of them for the whole season. It's also a really wild tonal shift where it goes just straight into horror.
Yeah.
Like it's really gothic. It's really like the lighting changes, the music changes. It's all atonal, and it doesn't all land, but it's to me the biggest swing. And you know how I am. I like big swings more than safe bets.
I get that. Yeah.
Everybody was having fun with it. Oh, I think I found out during my research what one of the gross ideas was that Dave Elsey and the actor who played Carvok had. Because he's got this sort of brain-sucking device in his arm, this spike that he sticks into somebody's brain.
I remember that,
and then he puts it into this port in his own brain. And originally, while that was being transferred, like he does this, I mean, on screen he does this sigh, which is really creepy. But originally he's going to be swallowing, sort of gulping while it was going down.
Yeah.
And coupling that with, like, orgastic.
Oh.
And that was just a bit too gross
much,
for this particular crew. Because... I don't know.
Okay.
I like how wild they went. It was a redress of Moya's set, of course. Like, they gunked up Moya's beautiful interior and had to spend, like, weeks and weeks cleaning it up
back
again
up
afterward.
again, yeah.
Yeah, Eat Me is it for me.
So there's one more thing that I need to talk about. And it might just be a little clarification that you can easily give me because my adult brain has completely forgotten about the information.
Adult or addled?
Yes, one of them. So what happened to, like, episode 311, Incubator?
Okay. The main plot is Scorpius showing his life story to Neural John.
Yeah. Whatever happened to Neural John? That's the thing. It's like,
he died. He self-destructed at the end.
Do you think the neural clones go to heaven?
Oh, okay.
That was the act that he took. He decided no longer to exist.
Yeah.
Which I guess means that he needs to go on the list of deaths into the spreadsheet. Into the spreadsheet
another one for John.
We go.
Yeah, that's good
one.
because I couldn't remember if that neural clone was still around.
And I'm actually going to call him a variant of John because up until that point, like he knew that he was John. Neural.
Yeah. Oh, it's the one with the spy flower.
Now
there are 3.
Self-terminated, which was a real death.
Yeah.
This is going to be interesting. Okay, so I'm going to have to adjust these stats. Well, I'm going to have some fun on Reddit, but we can't go yet, even though we've been making quite a lot of episode here. You have 800 points to spend on wild predictions. Go.
Oh, I mean, the only thing I've been doing is making wild predictions.
Okay, so far you've got power struggles.
Give me a category.
Well, we've had downbeat ones. How about some upbeats? How about sexy times relationships?
Oh, who's going to do it with whom?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, not necessarily smooches. Can be sexy times. Can be. But who's going to get together?
We've had Chana and Dargo break up. Jewel has been. All right, there's going to be an episode in which Jewel gets herself a little bit of action.
From?
Oh, no, not from one of the regulars. Just external action, which is going to lead to, or at least be involved with issues in the episode. So Jewel,
new character, 250 on that.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it's a long-term character, but it might just be a.
All right, I like that.
Yeah, so I really hope they develop Jewel a little bit more.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, and that Chiana gets more screen time.
And all of the other ones also get
more screen time. There's that.
So double the length of the episodes and just have them sitting there reading magazines. That'd be great.
I mean, Rigel's already gotten a little bit of squeeze this season.
Yeah. Despite not being a body breeder, which Jonathan Hardy... I mean, Jonathan Hardy has the voice actor, he has a very good memory for everything that happens in the episodes because... he records essentially a whole season's worth.
Oh.
Very close together. So he's rather confused because he did tell Zahn that
I'm not really a body breeder.
But then he does try and get it on with Chiana in the...
Right.
So what was going on
So how does that work? I mean, they just bring him, they record everything and they have one of the puppeteers say his lines? Or how does that...
On set, the puppeteers say the lines for Pilot and Rigel.
Right.
So that would have been Tim... Oh, I'm going to get the name wrong. And Johnny Eccleston in the first season. But yes, the puppeteer says the lines, which is why the actors on set, they don't hear Lani Tupu or Jonathan Harden's voice until the show starts airing.
Ah, right.
I don't know. I don't think they do it every episode. Maybe for Pilot they might.
Mm-hmm.
But Jonathan Hardy was a traveling actor, and
okay.
I don't think he spent much time with the crew at all.
Oh, okay.
So it may be that.
But hang on, doesn't he play the?
Oh yes, he Kahenu. Yes,
yeah,
yes.
He plays basically Caligula
to meet at least Virginia Hay.
Yeah,
but apparently he runs in the same circles as Paul Stark. They're both Shakespearean actors.
Oh, right. Okay.
And a few of the others.
Cool.
So yeah, 650
so,
points.
Oh crikey!
550 points. I've got to spend them.
All right.
Anyone else getting it on in the next season?
Not going to bet on that. It's just going to be speculative anyway. I'll make two more bets of 275 because throwing it all out in one. Let's see what's going to happen.
What about John's arc?
Yeah,
that he's on.
Oh well, John is on personal. Okay, so
I mean, John's arcs are Aaron, who has been revealed to be with child.
Yes. Oh,
Scorpius,
yes, about that,
which is largely resolved now. That's going to be fine. That's just over, isn't it?
No, of course, yeah.
Right, that's done with wormholes.
Yeah.
To get to Earth.
Right. I mean, I'll really be disappointed if they get to Earth for a protracted period. I think we already talked about this.
Yeah.
Because then that would basically turn it into a Stargate.
Right, yeah.
With the alien menace being out there and someone having to deal with it. So that would completely change the tone of the series. So
what would you rather see? Because presumably you're not going to place points on something that you're dreading.
To be honest, I don't think they would take the show there because that, it would change the premise way too much.
Do you want to... I mean, this is maybe mercenary. Do you want to bet against that happening?
No.
You can.
No, I'm sure I can, yeah. But no, I will not do that. I think that's... Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of things that I wouldn't allow you to bet against, but this is one. Because, it's in the credits and everything. Okay.
What's in the credits?
Searching for a way home.
Oh, right, of course, yeah. But they're not going to resolve that until they know that they're going to be cancelled, if they're ever going to resolve that. Okay, I'll put 275 on there being another encounter with the
Pathfinders.
The Pathfinders, yeah.
Pathfinders Return. Okay. And that's 275.
Yeah,
because I have to work with decimals one of these days.
I'm sorry. And then there's going to be so Aaron is with child, which we can only assume to be true. So it's other John, but this John doesn't care about that, I think.
Oh, are you guessing about the parentage?
Yes.
Okay, so Aaron's child is other Johns.
It's Black Shirt John, I think.
Is Talon Johns.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all your points spent for this season.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to see if, like, the very first episode brings you some new ideas. You're going to have to go into debt, and I'll figure out some formulas to work with that. What's really interesting about this is probably some of our beloved listeners have been writing this down and can already figure out what your score is going to be by the end of the season.
Oh, that would be funny. Like,
Right.
if we get if someone works it out and they tell me what my score is going to be based on that, and then I.
Oh, yeah. And then you try to figure out, like, okay, this is how many points you'll have by the end of the season. Okay, so which one?
Right.
Because there's also multipliers for how many episodes it takes.
Oh, yes, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's why you wind up with 3,800. I will be offering you a line of credit. No worries.
Okay. That doesn't sound ominous at all.
Just Hynerian rules. Standard, normal Hynerian rules as we delve into Season 4. Thank you so much for doing this with me. Like, I've had a really good time talking about Farscape
It was,
with you, buddy.
it is a fantastic way to spend a Sunday morning.
We will be back. We're going to be reading some more stories. There's going to be a greatest hiatus in 2 weeks' time. Still haven't really decided which one that's going to be.
No, I don't think
we'll
we
come
have.
up with something cool and make sure that it's announced well ahead of time so you can watch it along with us. And then we're going to delve into Season 4, Episode 1. Not telling you the title.
Oh.
And
she gives me
no,
a
it's not that one. For flip's sake, no, it's the other one.
And that's the story so far.
And this is the bit where I say all the stuff. Well, we're still on sofarscape.com/links. If you want to send in synopses for the upcoming season, if you want to send us fanfics, we'd actually appreciate some more suggestions. We like them 5,000 words or fewer. Comedies are really great. We've had some great suggestions. We'd love to see some more of your favourites. And now that we're heading into Season 4, a lot more stories are safe for Kay. So that's going to be interesting.
Yes.
We're still running our Patreon on sofarscape.com/links. And our end credits are by the inestimable Lee. Give them L. Many, 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 many thanks. I'm Khaki.
I'm Kay.
So Farscape, so good.